Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome to the TEDx stage a junior from Washington High School, Carter Van Ruler.
So, about a year ago, back in my sophomore year of high school, I decided to ask a girl out on a date. Now, I'm going to start the story by saying that I am single, so you can imagine how well that all worked out, but nonetheless, here's how that happened. So, I've been talking to this girl for a while, so I decided to ask her out to lunch, just to test the waters. I asked her what her favorite place was to eat, and then a couple days later, I asked her if she would be down with lunch. Miraculously, she said yes. At this point, I am sweating because I have never taken a girl out on a date before, and I don't really know what to expect. But I already said that I could, so I can't exactly bow out and say that I couldn't because I was nervous. That's wimpy, and I don't want to be made fun of by my friends. So we went ahead with it anyways. So a couple days later, it was showtime. We hopped in, I would argue, the sexiest car known to man. A luxurious, opulent, sumptuous 1992 Toyota Camry. In my defense, my grandpa in particular loved the thing, and I got good gas mileage. So we climbed in and we were on our way. After a bit of driving, we came up to the place. Now, matching with the car, I picked out a place I knew she would love. A lavish, grand, palatial Chipotle. But when we came up to the Chipotle, we came to the crushing realization that it was closed. Now, don't think I fumbled the bag and didn't check to see that they were open that day, because trust me, I did, multiple times. Ultimately, we had a little shucks moment and went back to school because I didn't have a backup place in mind. In the end, we did not end up dating, and my English teacher seems to blame the whole thing on me for the date, quote, crashing and burning, but I would like to shift the blame to the restaurant. But if I did mess up that badly, why do I remember it so fondly? If anything, I should be embarrassed, but I'm not. It got me thinking, and I remember the really nice conversation over to the closed Chipotle. We talked about useful subjects like what kind of colleges we were looking at, what classes we were planning on taking, and even useless subjects like why the second Cars movie was not the best sequel. That conversation immediately comes to mind whenever I think about the date, and I believe it's because of this. The journey is often more satisfying and fulfilling than the destination. Now, I want to ask a question. When was the last time you did something you enjoyed, even though you got absolutely nothing out of it? I want you to think about that for a moment. For me, that activity is video games. Again, can you tell I'm single? I would argue, as most other people would, especially parents, that I get absolutely nothing out of video games. Nothing that can help me with my schoolwork, nothing that can help me secure a job in the future. So why do I play them? It's because I enjoy the process of playing them. Whenever I buy a video game, it's not because I can't wait to be finished with it. I buy video games to enjoy the process of playing and then beating them. The concept could kind of be translated to skipping to the end of a book or movie. All you see is the end destination. You don't see what led the characters to cherish that moment. But what people fail to realize is that it's the process of witnessing the journey that makes the destination memorable and important. People tend to focus on the end of a process more than the actual process itself, and I believe that's a bit of a problem. Think about this problem in terms of school. I know some of you just rolled your eyes, but hear me out. What is the biggest portion of pre-college learning meant to make you prepare for? I would argue, tests. The main reason I study is for tests. The main reason I go to school, even when I'm sick, is to collect valuable information for the test on the subject I'm being tested on. Among one of the most asked questions in school is, will this be on the test? To graduate high school, you have to take a test. To get into college, you have to take a test. Okay, so we get it. Tests are a big portion of our education system, but why does that matter? There are ways teachers teach you to prepare for tests, but rarely, if ever, have we been taught to enjoy the learning process. From an early age, we're taught to focus on where we're going towards rather than where we're at. Factors such as tests motivate the process of focusing on the destination rather than the journey. This line of thinking, however, is a bit problematic. It's a bit problematic because it's our journeys that define us. It's the moments in between that make us who we are. Back in March of 2020, I got my driver's license. Me getting my driver's license was a massive thing for me, as I'm sure it was for most other teens, but among excitement, fear was a bit of the ruling factor because as a self-proclaimed mama's boy, I wasn't exactly ready to leave the nest, and me getting my driver's license was that first step of independency. And then a couple months later, in June, I got my first job. This was also a big moment for me and was also scary for me, as the same as getting my driver's license, because it was that first step of financial independency. And then sandwiched between those two big events, in May of 2020, my grandfather passed away from cancer. It struck me deeply as I was very close with my grandpa, and he got to see the Camry, but he didn't get to visit me at my job. But in the middle of these two massive events, me getting my driver's license and me getting my first job, it was the moment in between my grandfather's death that changed me the most and influenced who I become. One of my favorite memories I shared with him was every once in a while, all the women in my family would go on a girls' trip. And during these trips, my grandpa would always be the one asking if I needed anything, if I wanted to go out to eat. And of course, being a little kid who loved eating out, every single time I said yes. And every single time, we would go to a place called Marlin's. We would just we would just sit and talk and eat, and those trips left me with something new to take away each time. He taught me without even knowing that he was teaching me how to keep a conversation going and how to really take something away from a conversation. Just seeing how he interacted with people really influenced how I interact with people to this day. And I would argue those lessons far outweigh what driving or my job taught me. Death is a bit of an interesting concept. Death is something that we all reach. Death is the final destination of our time here on this earth. So in that light, life itself is the journey. Even as a 17-year-old, I've seen far too many people focus on death, and in pursuit of that, they forget to live, to enjoy themselves. What we forget to realize is that money and status mean absolutely nothing if you aren't satisfied with yourself. The pursuit of happiness should always be at the root of your decisions. Enjoy the moment, whether that be going outside on a nice day and really taking in a deep breath of fresh air, or really savoring every bite of your favorite meal. Savor the present. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the process of things. Enjoy the journey. Thank you.